He's my hero.
I love him to death.
Fun, maybe one of the funniest guys on the planet. Dave Attell, Norm, in that. There's something about those two.
National treasures.
I agree, and the fact that he's not like the biggest comic of all time is weird.
Well, he is to us.
You know where I differ from a lot of people? When I
Really? Really? You're different from a lot of people.
when I have my funeral, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, most of these funerals, crying and sad and everything like that. And that's what I like, you know? I don't want, I've heard of other ones. Let's have a party. Whoa, whoa.
No party.
There'll be a lot of party days later. But right now, I'm dead. I mean, you know, people should be talking, crying.
What I know of Norm is that he may not be working hard.
No.
But what he has is the same result as somebody who's worked hard.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, again, enviable, admirable. But God, he makes me laugh. And I happened across some of his time on Weekend Update.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you watch it now, you realize Norm just didn't care if it got a laugh.
No. And he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't care. And he had a joke. I think Downey wrote the joke. It was during the O.J. trial. And there's a picture of Johnny Cochran holding up the knit cap with O.J. sitting next to him. And God, no one could do this but Norm. Norm said, a little bit of a wrinkle for O.J. in the trial today. Johnny Cochran stood up and held the knit cap that was found at the scene of the double murders when O.J. jumped up and said, hey, careful with that. That's my lucky stabbing cap.
In a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran put on the knit cap prosecutors say O.J. wore the night he committed the murders. Although O.J. may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat.
His Letterman set, the last Letterman, when he goes, Germany decided to attack the world, you know, and you're like, that's so true. And then he goes, who do you think you are, Mars? I mean, it's just so funny, those little things where he's just telling you facts and it's funny.
And Germany decides again to go to war, and again it chooses as its enemy the world. And this time they have that guy, Schrankly, that guy, and I'm not even going to dignify him by saying his name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. But you'd think at that point the world will go, listen, Germany, here's the deal. You don't get to be a country no more on account of you keep attacking the world. I mean, what do you think, you're Mars or something?
You know how many comics out there don't give a fuck, but kind of still do? You have to kind of still do to eat. That guy
Norm
truly
doesn't. He's so fucking funny.
One of my best opening monologue jokes ever. Did you ever see? Remember that whole thing when he was doing Weekend Update and they told him to make it funnier. So he did, and he just was more Norm the next week. So eventually, of course, he gets fired. So then he goes off into the Hollywood world. He's got a TV show or a hit movie or some shit. So now they bring him back to guest host on SNL, and I'm gonna butcher this, but he kind of came out. He's like, people know I got fired from this show, so now they got me back hosting, which means either I got a lot funnier or this show sucks. That's what he opened up with.
You're very kind. You know, in the, what's that? Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is my name. You know, when the people here asked me to do the show, you know, I gotta say, I felt kind of weird, you know. I don't know if you remember this, but I used to actually be on this show, you know. I used to do the Weekend Update news routine, you remember that? And, that's where I did the make-believe news jokes, you know. That was me, right? So then, a year and a half ago, right, I had a sort of a disagreement with the management at the NBC. I wanted to keep my job, right? And they felt the exact opposite. So you see, they fired me because they said that I wasn't funny, you know? Now, with most jobs, I could have had a hell of a lawsuit on my hands for that, but see, this is a comedy show. So they got me, you know, you don't want it. But now, this is the weird part, right? It's only a year and a half later, and now they asked me to host the show. So I wondered, I go, hey, wait a second here. Hey! I go, how did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so damn funny? It was inexplicable to me, because a year and a half, let's face it, is not enough time for a dude to learn how to be funny. Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, you know, well, you'll see later, but... Okay, so let's recap. The bad news is, I'm still not funny. The good news is, the show blows.
He always think like, no matter where you are, you think like he's not going to make it. Like, he goes,
Yeah.
Just hold his stomach. Goes, I can't do this, man. I'm not going to make it here. I don't want to go. I don't want to go on. I want to quit. Like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And you got to push him in front of the microphone, and then he does an hour and 45 and like destroys. Doesn't take the mic out like this, like,
But quit smoking. That's good for your teeth, man. You ever tried that? Holy cow, is that tough, huh? I smoked ever since I was a kid. I always remember smoking, you know? One time I remember I was a little kid, I was like 8 years old, and I was behind my garage. I was sneaking a cigarette back there, and my dad caught me. I'll never forget it. His big head came around the corner of the garage. There it was, my dad's big head. And then his body, right after it. There was his body. Trailing his head as it often would. And he grabbed me, and he hauled me in. And I thought I was in for the strapping of my life, you know? What he did is he pulled out his giant cigar. Must have been half the size of my arm, this big cigar. Stuck it in my mouth, lit it up, made me smoke it all the way through, right to the end. That's when I started smoking cigars real heavy. That plan backfired on him. Then there was another time I remember, now that I'm thinking about it. I was behind the garage again, as luck would have it. And this time I was smoking a big fat joint back there. And don't do drugs. And my dad's big head showed up again. And there's no body this time, just a big head. That was the funny part. You like to mix it up like that, you know? So anyways, he grabbed me there with his teeth, and he hauled me in. And I thought I was in for the strapping of my life, you know, but injected me with heroin. So he was a strict man, I'll tell you that.
But I learned from watching him on SNL when he was on Weekend Update of just that, believe in your joke. And if the audience doesn't get it, you still need to believe in it. You know, like not every joke has to hit. You don't want to be a crowd pleaser. You want to be a great comedian. And Norm seemed to always be going that way. So I always looked up to him, always loved him.
In music news, Dr. Jack
Let me tell you about a story so true. We're showing me style and it's all so cool. It's about a garment torn and frayed, getting its threads, the story conveyed. Walking down the streets with holes in my teeth. Each rip and tear, part of me you see. It ain't about the brand or the label it holds. It's about the journey, the stories it unfolds. In these ragged clothes, I find my voice. A testament to resilience, my choice. From the streets to the stage, I rock my style. In my tattered shirt, I walk that mile. Ripped and torn, but still I stand in my ragged attire. I command, it's not just fabric, it's a statement. I preach in my threadbare garment, I find my reason. From the body real to the bar, I make my mark. In my worn out jeans, I leave a spark. They may call it rags, but I call it art. And every stitch and tear, I play my part. It's the struggle of the streets, the hustle so real. In my tattered jacket, I seal the deal. A symbol of defiance against the status quo. My passion, pants, I let it show. It's not about the riches or the wealth I lack. In my faded hoodie, I stay on track. It's the heart of the hustle, the grind each day. In my worn out kicks, I find my way. Ripped and torn, but still I stand. In my ragged attire, I command. It's not just fabric, it's a statement I preach. In my threadbare garment, I find my reach. So here's to the ones with the clothes that tear. In our patched up attire we have, so let the world see our garments worn. For in our rags, our stories are born. In the language of the streets we speak. In our torn up clothes we find our peak.
Kevorkian has performed and recorded a 1-hour CD of his own jazz compositions for the flute. You know, Dr. Kevorkian, I've listened to your CD, and I've got some advice. Don't quit your day job, all right? You know, murdering old people, stick with that. Stay away from the flute and stick with the murdering old people. This is my advice.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Norm! Norm! Oh my God! Very funny, Norm. And thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Norm Macdonald, ladies and gentlemen. That was very sweet, Norm. Good night, everybody.